In this video we're going to look at the Datalinks Warehouse Manager X3 and carrying out a miscellaneous receipt of a product into the warehouse. The Datalinks Warehouse Management System is embedded within X3 itself, and on the screen you can see both X3 in its familiar look and feel together with a emulation of the handheld operation that a user within the warehouse would use. The user would have logged in by this stage, as you can see the full menus here available to them, and in this case we're going to look at the receipting process of the miscellaneous receipt. So on the touchscreen handheld, the operator would scan receipts, and then the submenu is presented of miscellaneous receipts. The handheld now presents up to the operator a screen where it's asking for the product that's being receipted to be entered into the handheld. If the user doesn't have a barcode available to them, which might be the case if it's a product coming in from a supplier that doesn't create barcodes, then there is the option to do a lookup using the handheld and calls back to X3 itself. And this is done by the lookup button on the right hand side here. So now it's asking me to enter a string of the actual product code, so something it can actually start searching on. So I enter here, in this case BMS, and here you can see it's done a callback to X3 using web services, and anything that's got that code BMS in it, it has pulled back to the screen with its description alongside it. But this allows the individual doing the booking in to select the product. They can scroll down or they can select the product that they're going to receipt and click OK. What this does then is bring that information back to the screen, and depending on the configuration of that product will actually depend on the next questions that are asked by the handheld. I'm actually just going to take a step back at this stage to show that you can also scan the item code in. So if I just hit the back button, and it's now asking me to scan the product in this case. So using the handheld scanner, I scan the product code, and here again it's a different product to the one I selected using the lookup. But here you can see I've scanned this code and it's brought the description back. It's told me the unit of measure. In this case the product's set up to ask for the supplier's lot number, hence the question on the screen. This may be keyed, it may be scanned in. In this case I have a barcode that I can scan for the lot number. So you can see there the number with all the 7s for lead in, it's brought it into the screen. By the way, looking at the screen here, the block in the middle is always information going back to the user, with entries always going at the top area of the screen. This makes for simple training and understanding of how the product works. Here we're also we can bring the product into the warehouse, in this case under a miscellaneous receipt, in a number of different statuses. So here we're actually saying, tell me what the status is. So by dropping down the menu it shows all the statuses that I could bring this in. In this case I will accept it just as the accepted format. So I select confirm, and it's asking me for the location to place that you are placing that product in. Now, just as a quick discussion around location and placements, we can recommend and guide people to put it away based on the site product configuration, or we can ask where they're physically placing the product, as in this case. So this might come into a dock, in this case I'm going to put it into a bulk location BUL10. It's got a number of different units of measures set up for this product, so we need to tell it which is the stocking unit that I'm bringing it in. It looks like in this case a carton, which is 2 units, or it's a unit of measure of inches. So I'm just going to select the unit here. And then it's asking me, okay, of those units, how many have you physically got? So in this case we've got 250 of them, which you could key off the keypad. By the way, if this initial barcode, if I'd had a GS1 standard barcode with all this information in about the product code, the lot number, the unit of measure, the quantity, then I wouldn't have to key this information in as we go through the steps. It would just extract and work out that from the GS1 code. So I entered the quantity. It's now just given me a final review of the information prior to actually committing it. So on the confirm, that's now created the booking into X3, and at that moment in time it's also generated a pallet label. Now the pallet label, it can be a license plate that fits onto the pallet and is used for further moves of the product around the warehouse. If we have a quick look back here in X3, and one of the obvious places to look at this is within the transactions by date, and I'll just click the search here. So here you can see that we've got the product come in here. Here's the description, the date that it was generated, the quantity, you remember that I keyed of 250, and here is the unique pallet number of that product, and you can see we've dropped that into identifier 1. So this is the license plate, pallet number, and people call it a number of different codes, but basically what it allows you to do is identify this as a 250 pallet quantity and use that to move through the warehouse. You can see we've written it as a miscellaneous receipt, so all the transactions as you'd expect, the entry codes etc. within X3 have been completed. And importantly, if I come right away the way across to the far end here, you can also see we've identified who's done that transaction, when it was created, and the time that occurred. So this allows us to start doing some reporting and around individuals, KPIs etc.